everybody, how you doing? Welcome to another live stream from the Whiskey Dictionary. So, I'm gonna just kind of hang out a little bit, let a few people drop in. I know those alerts tend to go out, sometimes take a couple minutes. So, why don't I just say hi to a couple people who are in the chat? Let's see, we've got Mike, Banana Time. Oh no, sorry, Banantine. Whatever. The chat is a little small, if you'll believe that excuse. I might start calling you Mike Banana Time, though. We got Matrek, and I'm sure we're going to get a few more in here. So let me just talk to you a little bit about what we're doing tonight. We're going to be trying the 3 different Four Roses that I've got here, and I'm going to just, in general, kind of do a side-by-side comparison. I don't know that I've had all 3 of these, kind of side-by-side. I've definitely had all 3 in the same night as I recorded the videos that are coming up this whole month all in one night. It was a bit of a marathon, but I'd like to do a side-by-side comparison. So let's see who else is coming in the chat. All right, so we got a few people going in. So if you're in the chat, say hi. I want to kind of get to know some of you. 2 people already. I've already got some new faces. So. How was your Sunday? Did you guys do anything good? Or actually, let me ask a much more relevant question. Who's drinking with me tonight? So I'm going to start drinking. I'm going to bust into the Four Roses Bourbon here. And this is the one that I just put out the episode a couple days ago on Friday. So if you've already watched that, this should be familiar to you. But I want to kind of just start things off a little slow. And yeah, so let's see, we got Ryan in there. Do I like rum? I do like rum. I don't tend to drink a whole heck of a lot of it anymore because honestly my whole cabinet's just filled with whiskey at the moment. I drink quite a bit of whiskey doing this show. So I'd say I have a very, very limited experience with rum, but I know I like pirate rum, the P-Y-R-A-T, but frankly, I haven't tried any expensive rum. I did used to, when I was younger, my parents would take me on vacation down in the Caribbean. That was kind of what we did. And my dad was a scuba diver, or still is, and I am now a scuba diver as well. So we used to dive down there. And I remember that was kind of the whole thing. So we'd go on these cruises and we'd stop at each location and we'd dive. And one day we decided not to dive at that island. I think it was St. Thomas, maybe St. Martin, maybe St. John's, one of those St. Islands there. And we went out on the Jolly Roger, which is a boat that you basically go on, you get absolutely hammered on rum and punch, and they do all kinds of fun stuff on the boat, like make you walk the plank. They get some 2 random strangers married to each other on the boat, and it's generally a fun time. But probably the best time I've ever had drinking rum. That being said, it was rum and punch. So I don't have a whole lot of experience with rum, but I'm up for suggestions if you've got anything. Matrek's drinking some Ardbeg. Nice. That one's on my short list. Actually, I'm starting to put together a kind of a beginner Scotch guide, and that one's going to make the list as things that you should just try if you're kind of getting into it. So, all right, I am going to take my first sip here. So, cheers to any of you out there drinking with me, and to any of you watching in the future. To your health. All right, so Sailor Jerry's is great, and Captain Morgan Private Stock is awesome. All right. Hey, what's going on, Whiskey? So Whiskey in the Six is a guy that he's him and I and a few other channels like Scotch for Dummies and Scotch Test Dummies, Aquavitae. We're all just kind of if you could call us smaller YouTubers, but we're all really into whiskey and we're all kind of trying to help each other out. So if you're into the stuff I do, go check out Whiskey in the Six. He definitely leans more towards the review stuff, but I know some of you really enjoy that stuff. So go check out his channel as well. Whiskey in the Six. Excuse me. So yeah, you're going to have to forgive me if I cough a few times during the stream. I'm recovering from a cold. It's actually part of the reason that you haven't heard much from me in the past month. When I get a cold, I tend to have it for 2 or 3 weeks. It's ridiculous. All right, so we got Kia Ora from Down Under. Is that a rum? I snagged the last W.L. Weller Special Reserve for my store. No problem, 6. Drank a lot of the Single Barrel Friday, not tonight though. Yeah, good call, Ryan. I will probably not go too heavy into that Single Barrel. All right, so it's actually, for those of you not reading the chat, there's a couple people that have some Four Roses. So let's keep drinking and do a little talking. So let me tell you a little bit about this, and if you've already watched my video, then some of this is going to be a little redundant, but whatever, I don't care. I'm in charge. So with Four Roses, you've got 5 different yeast strains and 2 different mash bills. And they take all of those together and they mix them together. Well, they don't mix them together, sorry. They individually age each combination of those. So basically 10 combinations. And at the end of about 5 years, I think that's the minimum age requirement that they give these guys. They mix all 10 of them together to make this guy. And that's kind of how you get the pretty consistent flavor. It's part of the reason that I recommended it as a beginner bourbon, because it's something I knew I could be like, this tastes pretty good, go try it, and people aren't going to have a different experience. Then they have this guy, which I'll talk about in a little bit, which is made up of 4 of those different batches. And they kind of hand pick the 4 that they want, and then they make this small batch. Then you've got the single barrel, which is clearly just one of those barrels. Now the cool thing about the single barrel is they've got 10 different batches to choose from, and they can really just be like, this is the one that we should start selling. So I think that's actually a really smart way to do this if you're going to bother blending bourbons at all. So Four Roses single barrel here tonight. Nice. Bourbon Journey. Yeah, so Bourbon Journey is a fairly new channel. I have not yet checked out his stuff yet, but he's kind of doing the same thing, reviews and such. So I haven't really talked to you guys much since I went to my that live event there, the whiskey tasting, and that was quite an event. It was not quite everything I hoped it to be, which was unfortunate. So it was the New England Whiskey Expo in Twin River Casino in Rhode Island. And basically, like, you walk in the door and, you know, there's a million people there, which, I don't know. I get that whiskey expos are going to be filled with people, but I personally, like, I've been to some that are free at, say, Julio's Liquors in Westboro, Massachusetts, and they're free, and they weren't as packed as this place that you had to pay $40 for, and they offered even more. So I don't know. If you can find a free whiskey tasting in your area, even if it's like 5 to 10 distillers, like, you should check that out. But anyway, so I had to pay $40 a ticket for this event, and I mean, that was fine. It didn't seem exorbitant or anything. I got myself one and my dad a ticket, and we both went together. It was actually pretty fun. Both wore Whiskey Dick t-shirts. There's some stories coming up about that. And then we got like a hotel for the night, and it was pretty cool time. But so we go in the door, and you know, that's kind of one of the first scenes in that video that I put up. It's like just tons of tables, and that's pretty nice. And there's a million different distillers there, and well, that's a little obvious exaggeration, but there's really, like, there were probably like 30 distillers there, and I'd say about 5 or 6 of them were local distilleries, so you didn't really have a ton of stuff. Each place was really pouring very, very light. Like, what I have left in there is probably about 3 times what you get for a pour. It was okay. I mean, that's probably pretty standard, but whatever. So anyway, we walk in, we kind of look around. They actually had more food than they did whiskey, which was not unappreciated. But anyway, we tried a bunch of stuff, and I got to make a lot of good connections there. But I don't know, in general, I don't think I would go back to that one. I think I'm going to start looking around to see if there's any other whiskey expos in the area. I am using OBS for the chat overlay, yes, Tom. How is Four Roses compared to the mainstream brands like Jim and Jack? All right, so Nelson, so these are like in a whole different world, right? So, well, that's kind of not fair. So let's just kind of take it bit by bit. Actually, you know, Jack is probably a perfect example because they've got kind of 3 tiers before they start getting weird with their random stuff. So if we're going to compare Old Number 7 to their regular bourbon here, this is a dozen times better. If we're going to compare Gentleman Jack to the small batch, then this is 100 times better. Now, if you're going to go with the single barrels between the two, now that's where it gets a little closer, because I actually think the Jack Daniel's single barrel is a really, really solid single barrel, especially, you know, for a bourbon or whatever. But it's, I don't know, like I'm going to still probably give it to this one, but it's a lot closer. As far as Jim Beam goes, I hate to say it, I really haven't had much other than just the rock gut that Jim Beam puts out. I haven't had their higher stuff, but I will. Well, the straight Jim Beam mainline stuff. Like, obviously, Jim Beam makes a ton of other stuff, too. But, all right. Thanks, Tom. All right. So I am well on my way to saving up for some wireless microphones for basically I have a lot of stuff that I want to do with this channel. And I've got a lot of stuff, I forgot to put that up. A lot of stuff I want to do with this channel, and a lot of it requires wireless microphones. Now, here's the problem. A wireless microphone system is like $600. So I'm kind of trying to let the channel end up paying for it, and I don't mind chipping in some there, but it's still taking a little while. And the reason I'm bringing this up is that I want to do this with like more people, kind of. I want to have other people on the show, and with either I have to buy a boom mic, which, I mean, my technique is not fantastic. My lighting's okay tonight, but a lot of times, as you've probably seen, oh my god, that Eagle Rare video, I could not nail down the lighting to save myself. Anyway, but something like my lighting's not great, sometimes my microphone sucks, so I would like to get some nicer microphones. So I appreciate that, Bourbon. Yeah, this lavalier mic was like $17, and I think it was probably the best, other than maybe the webcam, thing that I bought for this channel. It's really fairly high quality. Let's see. Hey, Eric. I think I tried the Jim Beam Rye a while back. What'd you think, Eric? Let's see. Tom says, I like the store select. I like the store select for the Four Roses single barrel, as long as you get the right infographic you like. I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. Must be blessed this week. First Ralphie, and now you reviewing whiskeys I'm planning on grabbing next. What did Ralphie review this week? I'm actually not a subscriber to Ralphie. I guess I kind of don't want to be influenced. I mean, he's clearly the biggest guy in this space on YouTube, but you know, one of these days. I'm like 20 subscribers away from 5K, which that's getting up there. I'm pretty psyched about that. Let's see. So it was drinkable, but evidently not memorable. All right. You know what I want to try? There's a couple of different things I want to do. I want to do the Jack Daniel's Rye. I saw that they have a single barrel rye, which looked interesting. The Jack Daniel's stuff that I review always does really well on the channel as well. And then they also have, let's see, I think it's like it's another type of single barrel. I forget what it was. Maybe it was somehow like double oaked or something like that. They have the regular single barrel, but two other ones. I saw them in the store the other day, and I almost picked one up. I have a hard time not buying whiskey whenever I go to Julio's. So, store select is not the right term. The bottle's unique to the liquor. Oh, okay, I knew what you meant. I kind of thought that might have been what you meant, but I wasn't confident. So, almost up to 150, a bit behind. You'll get there, Bourbon. Yeah, no, I've seen Julio's does a lot of those too, and I keep mentioning them just because they're kind of like the biggest liquor store in the area. They've got kind of pretty much everything. All right, so let me keep drinking this because I'd rather get to one of the good ones here. I'm planning on going for about an hour tonight, which puts me at about 10 p.m. Eastern time. But if things are going well, I'll keep going. All right, hold on. Eric is texting me. He's one of the guys in the chat. He got, McKellen's Select Oak. Yeah, I haven't tried that one, Eric. So don't text me while I'm doing a show. So, all right. Yeah, anyway. In general, do you prefer Scotch or bourbon? So here's the problem, Matrick. Scotch is way more interesting. Bourbon is way more affordable. So in order for me to get a lot of content into this channel quickly, I tend to do a lot of bourbons. And I mean, if you look through my channel, I'm going to say it's probably a third bourbon, maybe even more. And that is something I'm planning on remedying actually next month. So the way that I'm doing Four Roses over the course of October, I'm going to be doing Speyburn across November. And I originally planned on doing Speyburn this month, except Speyburn's putting out a new Speyburn 15 year next month. And I'm trying to get my hands on it. I found it on Master of Malts, but it's like the liquor, or the whiskey itself is like, I think $65 or so, and then the shipping was $45. So screw that, I'm not buying that. So anyway, I'm hoping that my local liquor store will get it. And I'll probably just start off on the Speyburn 10 as the first video next month. And then the Auroch, I think that's what it's called, is the second video. And then I think the third video is actually gonna be that beginner Scotch guide. I really have been looking forward to making that. I've had a lot of Scotches, especially a lot of the intro ones. I definitely have a lot more exploring myself to do, but I think I can recommend a pretty good list of Scotches for people to start off on. So I'll probably do that as the third video next month, and then the fourth video will be that Speyburn 15. That way I give myself a little bit of extra time to find it if I can. So let's see what else we got. You're right, Eric, it was relevant. Are you into Scotch at all? My buddy gave me a tasting session with some really nice bourbons, but the Ardbeg Corey V. Reckon blew me away. Yeah, Ardbeg is some really solid stuff. I am very into Scotch, yes. This Tuesday, because coming Tuesday I get to meet John Glasser at an event at Blinny's in Chicago. Next Tuesday, Allie Young is coming to town. All right, you're going to have to refresh my memory. John Glasser, he's the Compass Box guy, right? He says that Scotch is good, but his wallet hates it, and I can completely relate. The few Scotches I've done on here that were actually really worth showing off, they're $80, $100. Yeah, I'm fairly certain that John Glasser was from. Here's the problem: I learned so many things about whiskey on this channel that it's tough to keep them all straight. For example, I remember Paul Jones, I think, was the guy that founded this. I only remember that because I just did the research like a week ago. Yeah, I got it right. John is from Compass Box. Cool. All right, let's hop into the small batch. Sorry, I just want to make sure. Last time that I was doing this, and you guys are going to have to let me know, last time when I was doing this, my video started cutting out like almost completely. So if that starts happening and I don't notice, please tell me in the chat, because that totally ruined my live stream last time as far as rewatch. And that was the one with the Captain Pecker the Party Wrecker story. So, I mean, I'm a little sad about that. So I got to say, and I hate the opening of this bottle. I don't know if any of you have the small batch out there. I think a couple of you said that you did, but this opening drives me crazy. I feel like I'm going to spill it all over the place every time I pour. Let's see. All right, so here's the small batch. Now, I have to say, since you guys are all here and you're a little bit, you get a little bit of behind the scenes by being on the live stream, this is my favorite of the three different Four Roses. I will say I got this bottle for a gift, so that could be part of it, but just flavor-wise, I think I can separate myself enough from it. Flavor-wise, I think that this is probably the best of the three. But let's see. All right. If you have guests over, which bottle do you share? So Ryan, all right, before I get into this, I got to share you with this. I have to share this with you guys. So I have a bar. It's behind me over here to my right here. And I have it's this cool piece of furniture. It's a picture like a bureau, and it opens up from the front, and both sides kind of come out, and then you can actually slide the bar over and lift it up, and it becomes like this big, huge bar. It's like probably 8 feet across, and on the two main doors, I have the whiskeys I haven't done an episode on yet, and the whiskeys I have done an episode on yet. And pretty much if somebody comes over, unless there's something I really want to share with them, I say, you can drink as much as you want from that side. And then if you really want something from over there, let me know. There's a few of those bottles that aren't even open yet, because actually I've only done it once so far on the channel, but I think it'd be fun to do more first impressions on the channel. But those kind of get a little iffy because it's like I haven't had the time to formulate an opinion. I can't, it's a little harder to say like, you should definitely buy this if something is just immediately awesome, but then you know, a couple sips later, it's not as good, because I have like maybe 2 sips per video, because if you think about it, if I'm doing multiple takes and I'm having a couple sips each time, that gets to be a problem pretty quick. All right. So currently drinking Lagavulin Distiller's Edition, and it rang me about $80. Still think it's worth it though. Really interesting. So Lagavulin, yeah, Lagavulin's good stuff. I can't say the word. A veritable transformer of booze. Yes. Have you thought of doing a tour of your bar? I have thought of that. Is that something that you guys would want to see? To me personally, like that doesn't sound super interesting, but like I'd totally do it and I would make it entertaining. But just I find that to be almost like, hey everybody, look at all the things I have, which isn't really what I'm going for. How many bottles did you have when you started your channel? Now that's a good question. Let's see. So my first video, I've since moved houses, right? So when I started this channel, I think it was almost 3 years ago. I was living in a different town, and it was still a nice house, but I had, I want to say probably like four whiskey bottles. I had more gin and like tequila than I had whiskey. Am I a fan of Johnny Walker? If so, which label is my favorite? Well, you know what? I'm sitting here with this drink in front of me for too long. Let me take a sip first. Cheers. Man, this is such a good whiskey. I really regret not putting this one on the beginner bourbon guide. I think that this is like that slight step up that really could have, it wouldn't have been like a beginner wouldn't enjoy this, but it would have just been like, if you were going to go out and buy a Four Roses, this is the one to buy. But anyway, all right. Answer your question. So Johnny Walker, what is my favorite label? Well, the answer is easy. I've answered this before, but I was just trying to think if my opinion has changed at all recently. So I'm going to say green is probably my favorite label. Now, the one caveat being that I have not tried the platinum yet or the double black. So those will be coming soon. Actually, I have intention of doing all, what, like 7 of them. Let's see. So I've done red, black. I want to do double black, green, gold, platinum, blue. So that's 7 of them. I want to do all of them, and I'd like to be able to kind of make that. I guess that'd be like a month and a half, maybe 2 months, if I were to do my 1 video a week, which I really don't think I want to do more than that. I am enjoying doing the 1 video a week, and I'm happy I finally got to that. It took me like 2.5 years to finally get there, but yeah, it's fun. So anyway, yes, green. All right, so very underrated. Green label is my favorite. Brandon, you should definitely check. Yeah. You should all check out my Johnny Walker Red video if you haven't already. Excuse me. Is that really? So Eric says that double black is their attempt at Lafroig, which I actually had no idea about. I didn't realize that they went for smoke. I'm actually realizing I know nothing about Johnny Walker Double Black. So, it's TEQUILLA, but whatever. So, saying that Johnny Walker Black tastes like tequila, I disagree. Johnny Walker Black was my first intro to Scotch, so maybe I have a little nostalgia for it. But that was the first like blended Scotch that I really tried. Or I should say bought. I'm sure it wasn't the first one I tried. Well, so I am sad to say I'm not going to do a Halloween episode this month. I was really, or maybe I will. I don't know if I get creative in the next couple of weeks. But I'm laughing because I'm thinking about the one I did last year where I attempted to act and it was poor. So if you haven't seen my episode on Compass Box Peat Monster, you should. And I think it was as much my lack of, what would you call it, editing, as much as it was my acting. But I had like these huge plans for how awesome this video could be, and expectation versus reality were not at all close. Let's see. All right, Whiskey Dick, have you tried the Smoky Coke again after the live stream? Oh man, all right, so for those that don't know, So I went on Scotch for Dummies live stream for a couple hours, or I guess an hour, and I mixed Lagavulin quarter cask with Coke because somebody in the chat asked me to, and I said, "What the hell?" So I did, and actually it was pretty good. Felt like a little bit of a waste of the whiskey, but it was actually pretty good. I have not tried it since. I've thought about trying it actually, so I will tell you, if you actually ever have the opportunity, give it a quick try. Part of the problem, I think, is that I like to make a really strong drink. So when I go, actually I usually drink it out of one of these glasses. So when I go like Jack and Coke, it's about to here with Jack, and then the rest is Coke. I usually don't actually finish the Coke can, and then a few ice cubes. So, all right. My video and sound, is my sound still out of sync? All right. Wow, you have 60 bottles, Julia. That's great. And 10 unopened backup bottles. It's good to see I am not the only one with a whiskey problem. Yeah, I definitely have a whiskey problem. I actually looked at my wife the other day and I just said, "You know I don't have a drinking problem, right?" And she's like, "Yeah, no, I know. Don't worry about it." So, yeah, I worry a little bit occasionally about what I might be doing to my liver, but meh, it's fine. I'm banking on some sort of scientist to figure out that whole liver thing by the time I need another one. Which Scotch flavor do you favor, smoke versus fruity? For example, Lafroig 10 or Glenmorangie? That's a good question. I'm going to go with the fruity because I feel like the smoky ones, although very, very good, that's all that they are, is that you take a sip and you're like, wow, that's really peaty, and then nothing. Now there are different degrees of quality there, so I mean you can still get like oh my god, that's like licking a campfire, which I forget which, I think that was how I originally described Lafroig when I first tried it. But then you got other stuff which is like a little bit more mild but still super peaty and stuff. So anyway, but the fruity stuff, you tend to get like way more complexity, which in my opinion is kind of why I drink whiskey. I like to taste different things, and I like to challenge my palate. I don't know if that sounds a little bit, I don't know, like douchey, but whatever. I like to challenge my palate when I'm drinking whiskey, and I like to sit there and think about what I'm tasting, and then I write my little notes, and then I come do these reviews. So I'm gonna go with the fruity scotches. Although, way to make me sound like a kind of wuss about it. I prefer Highland scotches or Speyside. All right, which Scotch flavor? Let's see. We use the same glasses for our mixed drinks. Yep, the pint glass is great. My wife got me those. Would you pick Buffalo Trace or Maker's Mark? Both $22 at my store. I would pick Buffalo Trace if you've never tried either one. Personally, probably Maker's Mark, but I've been actually, oddly enough, I've been getting a lot of flack on my Maker's Mark video where people don't really think as highly of it as I do. I mean, not that that matters to me, but it's still just, maybe my opinion is not as widely accurate as some of my other videos. So if you've never tried either one, start with the Buffalo Trace. It's really, really good. Let's see. Buffalo Trace is a rye bourbon. Right, and Maker's Mark is a wheated bourbon. Yep, they taste different, but yeah. All right. All right. So, all right. Let me keep drinking this. So let me tell you a little bit about this because I haven't put up my review on it yet. Now, the number one word that came to mind when I tried this, if you remember my, I think Crown Royal, maybe it was either the Deluxe or the Rye Harvest. The word that I described to you to describe it was creamy. So this is very kind of just, it's like soft and creamy, almost like a creamsicle is a bad way to word it, although there is a little bit of orange in there. But it's extremely smooth, it's full-bodied, and it's very light. And I think that's what I mean when I say creamy. So there's honey in there, there's a little bit of cinnamon, There's a bit more going on, mostly like fruits. So you got like some apple, but a lot of it is general like bourbon notes. But there's very little oak in here, which is actually kind of nice. A lot of bourbons are way too oak heavy for me. As far as tasting it, yeah, like I said, it's super creamy, and you get some of the apple. You've got maybe some cherry, a little bit of cherry. I can't say enough good things about this whiskey. If you haven't tried the small batch, I think this was like $35. That's one of the better whiskeys that you can buy for that price. It's really good. All right, let's see what else we've got. Maker's Mark Cask Strength is really nice. I haven't tried the Maker's Mark Cask Strength, but that's one I've got to try. Which one is, all right, so I'm drinking the small batch right now. Four Roses, yep. What's the recipe on that bottle? I'm trying to think so like I said earlier, maybe you weren't in, Ryan, Four Roses does 10 different batches, and they age them all about 5 years, and then they'll combine certain ones. So the regular Four Roses Bourbon is all 10 of them. And then this one is 4 of them. So they get to switch it up. They don't always pick the same 4. They try to go for a consistent flavor, but that consistent flavor might not necessarily come from the same batches. So, which sounds a little weird, but that's what I've learned anyway. And then this guy is just 1 barrel. Elijah Craig 23 is the only bourbon I've tried that was really oaky. Still enjoyed it, but you can smell and taste the wood. Elijah Craig 23. I don't think I'm going to be getting my hands on that anytime soon, Tom. Knob Creek. Knob Creek is an excellent beginner bourbon. Beginner to intermediate, if I had to say. How I'm defining that is really more in my own head, I guess. But Knob Creek is 100 proof, so it takes a little bit of what would you call it? It's strong. I mean, you gotta really appreciate a strong drink in order to appreciate Knob Creek. So actually, I'm really happy to see that you have that in your Manhattans. I personally go with Makers or Knob Creek. So kind of depends on what they have. Yeah, I saw that, Tom. So he's saying about Four Roses having a mash bill page, basically, but unfortunately, I don't have it all up here. So I did see it during my research. Let's see. All right, so quick story about this guy. So my wife and I ended up putting this in the video, so you're going to get a little deja vu in a week or so. But my wife and I just had our 4th anniversary. And for those that don't know, we've been going through like the themes, right? So this year was fruit and flowers, and those were the theme. So she got this for me, and just kind of worked out perfectly. She's like, "Yeah, I based your gift on flowers." I was like, "That's kind of weird. I kind of don't really want to get like a bouquet of flowers. I'm a dude." But whatever, I'll appreciate it. And then she hands me this, and then she gave me an apple cider whiskey, which I actually haven't had very much of. I should probably get into that, but I thought this was extremely clever. So, and just proves that she knows me pretty well. I'm a little sad that one's gone. Might end up having a little bit more of that. All right, let me move that over here. Actually, I'm going to keep that in frame because I like to crowd myself here. So, all right, moving on to the big boy. So we've got Four Roses single barrel. Now, I do have water there, but of course I forgot to bring a spoon again. Now, one thing that I think is cool is this, it's pretty cheap, but it's still leather. It's got this little, trying to get this off without breaking it or spilling anything. All right, so it's got this little leather thing around the neck of the bottle. And, it's got a little story. Basically, it's got the origin story that I described in that most recent episode I did of Paul Jones meeting that love of his life there, and her bringing, her coming to the ball with the Four Rose corsage. So, all right, let me pour some of this guy. As you can see, I have not had very much of this. There's a reason. It's 100 proof. Is it more than that? No, 100 proof. All right. It's weird that it'd be so consistently 100 proof, I guess. I don't know. Usually when you get up that high, a lot of times there's a little bit of variance, but maybe that's for things over 100, who knows. All right, MBJ, I like Woodford Reserve and Whistle Pig Rise. Whistle Pig is another bottle that I have that I'd really like to do a review on. It just never really gets picked when I'm looking for new bottles. All right. So, thanks for that bourbon. All right, I think I've swished that around enough. So I'm drinking this out of my Wyoming whiskey Glencairn that I got. I'll tell that story in a minute. Actually, that's a pretty cool story. But let me nose this. Now, one thing you'll notice is that there's very mild legs on this, considering the high alcohol content. That's actually a little surprising. But anyway, all right, let me nose it. So there's very little burn, considering it's 100 proof. I probably should have not stuck my nose in the glass right away. I'm kind of glad that didn't hurt more, but oh well. Honestly, I'm not getting a whole lot from the nose, but could be because I've already had a couple. I don't know. Check out my video when I talk a little bit more in depth about it. I wish I had my notes in front of me, but cheers. Well, that's definitely 100 proof. So that is really pretty tasty. And actually, it's interesting how dramatically citrusy it is, especially on the back of your tongue. What is the 4-letter combo for that bottle? Oh yeah. Hold on. Let me see if it has it. Sorry, I know I cut myself off. I don't see it on here, unless you're talking about the single barrel. No, you wouldn't be. I don't remember, or it's not on here, but I know what you're talking about. Basically, he's referring to, as I mentioned, the whole 5 strains of yeast and then the 2 mash bills. So each one of those has a different letter, basically. This isn't what it is, but it'd be like A1, A2, A3, whatever, and then B1, whatever. So it's a little bit more involved than that. But basically, like, this could be like OCBI or something like that, and that's what barrels it's made out of. So I have no idea what's on there. As far as the single barrel goes, because that's what he's actually saying, it says barrel number 503I, which, I mean, doesn't have anything else on here. So I've got somebody, thankfully, doing some of my own research in the chat here, trying to tell me what this is supposed to be made up of. So, OBSB. No, it doesn't say anything on there. I don't know if you'll be able to see this if I hold that up, but that's the only information I have going on. So, all right. So I'm going to do the side-by-side comparison in a minute here. So some people are asking me what my favorite is. I mean, I've been pretty clear that it's this, but it would be interesting to, actually, I do have 3 Glencairns here, so I could almost do a blind taste test. All right. But I don't really think the blind taste test is going to do much because, I mean, this is 80 proof, 90 proof, 100 proof. They're going to be almost immediately obvious which one it is, at least certainly this one. So, let's see. So, you know, I've been talking an awful lot about myself. What are you all drinking out there tonight? Some people said at the beginning of the stream what they were having, but there's a lot more people in here now. Anybody drinking anything good? I'm going to add just the slightest bit of water, unless I really screw this. You know what, actually, I'm going to do this, because I think it's going to be easier to pour a small amount of water out of a Glencairn than it will be. I'm going to do my little chemistry. There we go, little bit of water. When storing your whiskey after storing it for a little while, is it normal to have like sediment lining the bottom of the bottle again? Sorry for the spelling. So Nelson, it depends. What are you drinking that you're seeing that sediment in? Because you shouldn't really be seeing sediment. Now, it also depends on how you're storing your whiskey. You should be storing your whiskey standing straight up, not laying on its side like you would a wine. And every now and then, like call it like every year or so, you want to just kind of like tip it upside down for a little bit, get that cork a little wet, and then flip it back over. So depending on what you're drinking, it could be that you'd see some sediment, especially if it's, let's say if it's like a Scotch that's not chill filtered or something, or frankly it could be anything that's not chill filtered, but you see that a lot more in Scotch, then you could very well have some particulate in there. But actually every whiskey is filtered coming out of the barrel to make sure that there's no wood or anything else in there. But they're not all chill filtered, which, long story short, is pretty much like just pushing it through a very fine mesh to after making it cold, which actually removes a lot of the fats and other stuff, the esters, out of the whiskey. And it keeps it clear, basically, when you add water. It's really all cosmetic. Let's see. So we got Gentleman Jack, McKellen Select Oak, yep. Compass Box Oak Cross. Oh, nice, Tom. I actually just finished mine maybe like a week ago, the one that I did on the review on. W.L. Weller, Old Antique, Four Roses Single Barrel, nice, bourbon, cool. What do you think about it, bourbon? What's your, let's give you your moment to shine here. So My Bourbon Journey is a fairly new channel. I think he said he had 150 subs, which you had about 80 the other day when I saw you, bourbon, so you're growing all right. What's your opinion on the Four Roses? And then we got Green Spot Irish Whiskey. So Green Spot, there's the red, the yellow, and the green, right? All three of those are something I would love to do on this channel. I definitely do not have nearly enough Irish or Japanese whiskey on my channel. I would love to do that. So which one, Kevin, is like kind of the bottom? I would guess, I think it's probably, actually, no, I'm sorry, I'm thinking Redbreast. So there's Yellow Spot and Green Spot. There's no Red Spot, is there? This is a good whiskey. I might not have given this enough of a shot the first time that I had it. Delicate flavor, long finish. I would disagree on the delicate flavor. I don't think you're going to get delicate flavor out of anything on 100 proof. Small batch, 1792. Nice. All right, so let's see. Okay. So My Bourbon Journey apparently is a pretty good channel. People like them. That's good. Nice. Hmm. 1.75 liter Jim Beam. I store it upright in the wardrobe as for an emergency. Nelson, I don't want to know what kind of emergencies you're having in your bedroom that you need almost 2-liter bottle of Jim Beam. But no, actually no, I just don't want to know. Either way, if you're getting sediment in a bottle like that, I don't know. It's not really a big deal. You could just, if it really bugs you, you could strain it and pour it into another bottle and then kind of transfer it back. That'd be fine. Or you could just not worry about it. It's really not a big deal. It's kind of uncommon to get that unless you've had the bottle for a really long time. All right. Bourbon Journey says that he likes it. Has some good spice and nice heat. Go-to of mine. A drop or two of water really opens it up. I would agree, actually. After adding that water, definitely opens it up. Teeling Single Grain is very nice Irish whiskey, a corn-based whiskey aged in used bourbon barrels. I like to think of it as an Irish bourbon. All right, so here's my answer to my question from Kevin. There's green and yellow spot. The green is their lower end one, still a bit pricey, and the yellow is their premium one. I believe that one is aged for about 12 years. All right, cool. So what's it, October? Probably not going to get to it by the end of the year. I do not actually have a whiskey selected for December. I would like to be able to do, I don't know, what do you guys think? Here, you guys are kind of my core audience here because you care enough to log into a live stream. So, tell me what you think about the idea of doing these themed months, like Four Roses and then Speyburn, Or do you prefer to just kind of have it be a surprise every month what I'm doing? For those of you that have actually been with the channel for a long time, you might remember that at the end of every episode of my first few videos, I used to always announce what I was doing the next week. That way people could have a chance to go out and buy it, which is something I probably should start doing again. It just seems like I stopped doing it at a time when I didn't have enough back supply to know what I was doing. Actually, I remember exactly what it was. I think it was the Yamazaki that I was doing, and I announced that I was going to be doing the Balvenie 12. And then I had borrowed the bottle from somebody, and then they took it back before I got a chance to record my episode. So that I didn't have it, and then I just never really got back into doing it. So what do you guys think? Do you like the themed months, and should I start talking about which bottle I'm doing the following week? It's too structured, all right. All right, so let's see. So Julia's drinking what I'm drinking, except yellow label. All right, so you're drinking this guy. That's funny. There's 60 different bottles. I like that you have that kind of choice, but actually it's really nice to see. I think there's like 4 different people that are drinking what I'm drinking tonight. That's really cool. So you like the surprise. You think this is too structured. You like the surprised. All right, you like the random reviews. All right, that seems pretty definitive. All right, so you like what I'm doing. I like to know what's coming so I can drink along with you. All right, so I'll make you guys a deal. So I'll do the Spey Burn next month, only because I kind of already have that planned out, and I've just already been kind of announcing it. I've been working towards that. But come December, I think I'll go back to the random reviews. It definitely does offer a little bit more variety from my point of view. My thought was it would help me to kind of fill out my channel a little bit more and have less of those playlists that I have that only have one bottle in it, where it's like, you know, the Jameson playlist, for example, only had, technically it was 2 reviews, but it's only 1 video. That's something I would like to avoid, but I could certainly just work towards avoiding that. So I could do Evan Williams theme on budget. Evan Williams is, I will get to it eventually, but I don't have a very high opinion of Evan Williams' Black Label. I like knowing what you're drinking so we can have one together, but the randomness is preferable. Perhaps do the background and baseline 1 week, then come back to the higher level offerings all in one. Yeah. Well, I like having the individual videos, Eric, just from a pure standpoint of having enough content. I do like doing kind of the first week of every month be a new distillery, and that's kind of what I've been doing for the past few months, but I think I'm going to go back to the randomness. It seems pretty definitive. So thank you guys for helping me make that choice. Oh yeah, I totally forgot to put these things up. So I was kind of just getting carried away. So there's my Four Roses, there's my small batch, and then there's my single barrel that I'm drinking right now. So I'm going to leave that up right now, actually, for a little bit. I'm playing around with this YouTube thing. It's a little bit weird. I don't know if any of you live stream as well, but the software that YouTube gives you is not really great. It would actually be awesome if YouTube made a desktop app that was totally integrated with their software, but I don't know that they'll ever do that. Like, obviously I'm using OBS. We talked about it earlier, and OBS is a live streaming software where you can do fun stuff like, you know, switch things on and off or whatever. So. And in general, you can tie it together. I haven't gotten any super chats tonight, but if I were to get one, there's like this animation that plays, and it like shows up on the screen. If I get followers, it shows up on the screen. I think, what did I say earlier? I think I'm pretty close. I'm about 20 away, I believe. Sorry, I'm looking at my phone here, but I am at 4,965 subscribers. So I am damn close to 5K, and I'm really hoping I'll hit that this week. Actually, I should hit it this week. I tend to get about like anywhere between 10 and 20 a day, so it'll happen this week for sure. All right, let's see. Is there a huge difference between the yellow and small batch, or should I just skip to the single barrel? Jason, you should definitely. I'm guessing that you're a fairly experienced whiskey drinker because I recognize your name and I know you've followed me for a little while. I would just throw this one, not throw it away, but skip this one totally. Start with this guy. maybe buy this guy. I don't know that I would recommend this over something like, well, actually, let me start over. This is $45 for 100 proof. That's, and for the quality, I mean, you can get 100 proof in Knob Creek for cheaper, but for this quality at 100 proof, this is actually a good deal. As far as if money was no object, I don't know that I would buy this one again. I prefer Booker's if I'm going to go for something with a crazy high proof, and it's just hard to kind of recommend this one. So anyway, I would recommend this one all day. So I just think this one's a great whiskey. All right. So perhaps, is there a huge difference? Jason starting out. I agree with Tom. You should give Evan Williams single barrel a try. I probably should. Anyone explain why there's two types of green dot and two different prices? Oh, green spot. Yeah, that's actually a good question. I've noticed that as well. But I am not nearly as educated in Irish whiskey as I could be. That one's probably going to be one of my last beginner Irish whiskey guides. I think I've got the Scotch one already figured out. I've kind of got them in my head. Now, actually, here's another question for y'all. So I've got the bourbon one that I did, which I think ended up being like 8 or 9 videos. Now, the smart thing for me to do, and what I'll probably end up doing, is like a top 10 Scotch, but that feels so clickbaity to me that it doesn't sit right in my head. But then you get that whole well, if you get more views, you get more people, whatever. So I'm thinking I'm going to do top 10. But I might do top 15 instead for Scotch, because there's a lot of Scotches that I would consider beginners. I guess, so what my question is that would you personally be more likely to click on something that said top 10 or just something that said definitive beginner guide to? If it was top 10 beginner Scotches buying guide or something like that versus definitive Scotch buying guide. I mean, to me, I think the top 10 probably sounds better because you just you're used to seeing that on YouTube. I don't know. I'm not putting this out there properly, but I'm trying to think of whether 10 is the right number or whatever number I think is the right number is the right number. I have tried Weller 12. I don't remember a lot about it. I think I tried it at 2 different whiskey tastings, so I really couldn't make a good opinion on it because I can't guarantee how many I had had prior to that. Let's see. 2 different green spot are the cask finish, different wines. Okay, all right. Help whatever your name is. Maybe you're thinking of the Chateau. All right, I don't know what that is. All right. So, all right. Let me finish this up so I can do my little side-by-side, even if it's going to be kind of a exercise in futility. I've got about 5-10 minutes left to go here. So, all right. Well, this one says Wyoming whiskey on it, so I'm not going to use that one. I guess I have to. All right. Let me see if I can find a way to do this. I'm going to turn it like that so I can't see, and then drink the water there. All right. So there's really no good way to do this. All right. Well, all right, hold on. I'm going to grab another Glencairn that doesn't have words on it. Give me 1 sec. All right, problem averted. All right, so I'm going to pour approximately the same amount in each one, and then I'm going to close my own eyes, shuffle them like a game of 3-card Monte, and then see if I can tell you which one is which, possibly look like a fool. We'll see. All right, let's see how this goes. All All right, let's see. Summon an assistant. Yes, all of my assistants are sleeping. What were my 5? Okay, all right. Okay, all right, so closing my eyes, I'm going to try my hardest not to pay attention or to spill anything here. All right, I have no idea which one is which. You'll just have to trust me on that. So I'm going to keep my eyes closed. All right, so let's try this one. All right, so it smells not like the 100. All right, I'm going to guess that this one is the yellow label. I think that one is the 100 proof. I'm pretty sure that one's 100 proof. Ooh, now I'm confused. Because this one's rougher than the first one here. Hold on. I think I need a glass of water. Hold on. All right, keeping my eyes closed here. Now I'm on the line here. Shoot. I'm going to change my answer. I think this one is probably the small batch, but let's see. Actually, geez, now I'm really confused. This one might actually be the 100. Wow. All right, so as you can tell, I am not a, I don't know if it's still called a sommelier when you're a whiskey person, but let me try the middle one more time. I might have thrown out my guesses a little bit too fast. Okay. All right. I'm gonna think that this one's the yellow label. These two, I'm not sure. I'm gonna go small batch and then single barrel. All right, let's see how I did. All right, this one's definitely the yellow label. I was correct on that. And I think I got it right. I think this one's the small batch, and then this one is the single barrel. Just let me try to match up those colors a little bit. Yeah, I think I got it right. All right, even if I didn't, I'm going to pretend I did, but I'm pretty sure I got that right. Work will be a little harder in the morning, but I actually went to work a few hours today, so if I have to leave a little early tomorrow, then so what? All right, let's see. Small batch. Oh, I should probably take that thing off the screen. I'm sorry about that. I totally forgot that was up. Whoops. Nope. Fail. There we go. All right. Anyway, so it's roughly 10 o'clock. It seems like I actually managed to fit everything into the 1 hour. Shockingly enough, I'm going to rewatch the footage to make sure that I'm not lying to you, but first off, I'm 100% sure that this one's the yellow label, so that's at least fine. These two, I'm pretty sure that these are correct, but I'm going to have to double check. I might actually do this a little bit more formally in the future, even though it seemed like I was panicking a little bit there. Not quite certain that I was not certain I was going to get it right, but thankfully I did, so I've maintained my credibility. Anyway, thank you all for joining me tonight. It's actually been really fun drinking with you. And I love that you all drink along with me. So I'm not sure what the date is going to be, but I will put up a live stream for next month as well with the Spey Burn. And I'm going to have hopefully all 3, but at the very least I will have, I already did the Spey Burn. What should I do for my live stream next month? You know what, I'm just going to do a random assortment of bottles next month, but I will put up the live stream long ahead of time so that you can all know that it's coming. I will aim for probably like the second Sunday or Saturday of the month next month. So Nope, that's going to be 11th. Whatever. You'll see the event. So thank you very much for joining me here on the Whiskey Dictionary, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Look for my video on small batch coming out next Friday. And if you feel like having whiskey dick all over your shirt, then check out the description in any of my channels or any of my videos. There's a link to the merch section. I'm going to probably put up some extra stuff pretty soon, just new ideas for new videos. So if you want, I'll probably hang around the chat for a couple more minutes after this video ends. So if you want to chat, then feel free. Other than that, thank you for joining me, and have a great rest of your night.